Meanwhile, Polka's niece, Sayo, visits them, together with her attendant Xiaoyu, and she tells them she will be staying with them. Polka wonders what she's doing there, and she reveals that her sharks burned up, making them confused, as Misaki starts talking to her about sharks. So Xiaoyu explains how her bedroom was lost in the fire, along with all her shark toys. He shows them a message from Rosen, who asks Polka to let them stay in their place, saying it would be convenient to have 2 of his people in the building. Polka can sense that more people are watching their building, thinking Rosen decided to send his security, but he considers the possibility that Sayo could be behind the attempt on Polka's life. The next day, Polka finds Sayo in her shark sleeping bag, saying she has no energy for the day. Misaki thinks about cleaning up an empty room for their new housemates and buying a mattress for them, but they claim that they don't need one, since Sayo is happy with her sleeping bag, and Xiaoyu says he can sleep while standing up. Xiaoyu states that he will look after Sayo, preparing a meal for her, as he reveals that the Shinoyama residence is buzzing with police. We see Tsubaki and Kozaburo interviewing Takaru about the fire. Tsubaki suggests it could have been the work of the fire-breathing bug, and Takaru reveals that the fire-breathing bug has always been a thorn in their side, causing trouble for their group, so he wonders when the police would capture him. He reminds Tsubaki about Tenya's escape, and he tells them that they should be looking for Tenya instead of chatting with him. The detectives walk away, as Kozaburo states that Takaru seems to be the kind of guy who uses violence to solve problems. Tsubaki says they might have to throw down with the Shinoyamas, showing a picture of Polka with the family. They know Polka is the younger son of Rosen, and they think that either Polka or Takaru could be at the center of the cases they've had for the past month. Sayo and Xiaoyu move to another room, and they are left there for the evening. While Sayo is sleeping, Xiaoyu gets up, listening to Polka and Kuruya as they discuss what to do with them. He doesn't know why Rosen trusts Polka, but he is determined to expose Polka, thinking he's up to something. We learn that Rosen ordered him to go to the building, and he revealed that Polka is a fake, but he's not their enemy. So he gave Xiaoyu the mission to keep Sayo and the fake Polka safe, but Xiaoyu is reluctant. Xiaoyu considers killing both Polkas, thinking he would make a better son for Rosen. In a flashback, we see Xiaoyu lying on a hospital bed with his limbs cut off. His father thinks about turning him into a Tingyu, which is a living child whose body is used for cultivating poison. Xiaoyu begins to lose his mind after hearing this, but Rosen arrives, telling his father not to be so barbaric. His father explains that the people in their clan are just tools, so Rosen offers to buy Xiaoyu with his group's latest tech. Rosen thinks about giving him some prosthetics, and he smiles as he takes him in. Back in the present, Xiaoyu continues to eavesdrop, while Clarissa reveals that the Shinoyamas also have connections in the criminal society. She thinks they were just hired to kill Polka, because the family's assassins can't get involved in the situation. Clarissa knows that Xiaoyu's family, the Leis, serve as the Shinoyama's assassins, and they are known for using special methods to get the job done. Xiaoyu hears Polka talking about a dragon from his world, who takes the form of a beautiful woman to seduce royalty, but she fell in love with a general, so they eloped when the empire fell. They start talking about more dragons, and Xiaoyu becomes confused, thinking they're just talking about works of fiction. In a meeting, Tsubaki tells the police about Polka, saying he is with the girl who left footprints in the human Knots case. Kozaburo mentions his connections to Clarissa and Kuruya, and Tsubaki tells everyone about Polka's fortune-telling business. Later, as Polka prepares for his fortune-telling session, the detectives suddenly arrive, and Tsubaki asks him to read his fortune. Tsubaki claims he will use the fortune to prevent future murders, but Polka says he can't see the future, and that he only traces paths. As Polka begins the reading, Polka tells Tsubaki about his background, and Tsubaki suspects that somebody is feeding him the information, thinking he has an earpiece under his hood. But we learn that his magical eye is just looking at Kuruya's monitor, as he searches for information. He mentions the wound from Tsubaki's past, which is weighing him down, and Tsubaki asks how he can heal it. He becomes surprised as the spirit in the pen starts moving, and it writes something on the paper. Tsubaki is triggered seeing it, and he grabs onto Polka, asking him what he knows. In a flashback, we see Tsubaki talking to a mysterious person who asks him to memorize a symbol on a piece of paper. He tells Tsubaki not to forget it, as he burns it away, telling him not to show the symbol to anyone else, because it's the signpost they must follow, and a one-way ticket to death. Back in the present, he asks Polka why he drew the symbol, but Polka tells him he is just showing him the path. He lets Polka go, and he pays him more than what is expected, bidding Polka farewell as he starts walking away. Xiaoyu wonders what was written on the piece of paper, so he thinks about looking into the fake Polka's secrets. He asks for permission to leave, saying he will buy dinner, and Sayo lets him leave. Meanwhile, Tsubaki is eating with Kozaburo, and Kozaburo asks him why he got worked up during the reading, wanting to know what was written on the piece of paper, but Tsubaki says that he will tell him in the future. Xiaoyu sees them as they leave the restaurant, and he thinks about following them a bit longer. We see a burning building as a man opens up a safe, taking a scroll out of it. But as he turns around, he sees the fire-breathing bug walking towards him singing a lullaby. The man is taken out, and the fire-breathing bug leaves as everything burns, and his signature appears on the wall. But Tenya suddenly appears, taking the scroll from the man's body. It's the same symbol from the reading, and Tenya gets an idea for the theme of his comeback performance. Back in their building, Kurai wonders why Tsubaki became upset, and Polka reveals that it was because of the spirit in the pen, saying he has no idea what was written on the paper. Tsubaki goes to Clarissa, asking her about their mutual friend, but she has no idea what he's talking about. Tsubaki says he was an inspector named Hozaragi, which is revealed to be the spirit in the pen. Clarissa remembers him, and Tsubaki suggests that Hozaragi may have recruited Polka, thinking she may have been involved somehow. But Clarissa says she knows nothing about it, and that she's just letting Polka stay in her building to build connections with his family. Tsubaki thinks Hozaragi is still alive, so he wants to clean up the police force so that Hozaragi will return. Xiaoyu overhears the conversation, and he thinks about investigating the bar's staff. Kuruya is surprised to learn that Hozaragi was an inspector who investigated police corruption, and Polka asks him what he wrote on the paper, but Hozaragi demands a payment of 1 million yen, which they don't have. Hozaragi reveals that the case involves one of his regrets, so Polka has no choice but to help him, because it's a part of their pact. At the detention facility, Tanya goes to the grocer, wanting to buy information about the symbol. We learn that the grocer comes from a family of merchants with a century of history, and he is the 5th generation owner of the family business. He has a weird prison cell because he has gained power by dealing with the state, and everything is on the table when it comes to making deals with him. The grocer gives him a free sample, saying the symbols have meanings. He reveals that one diagonal line is a sword, and the old Knight Order in Europe used a similar insignia, but he refuses to go on, saying Tanya must pay to learn more. The day of Tanya's performance arrives, and everyone notices blimps outside. They all display the symbol, which surprises Polka, because it represents the emblem of the fallen empire from his world. Tsubaki tells Kozaburo that it's the same symbol Polka showed him, so Kozaburo thinks the Phantom Solitaire is connected to Hozaragi's case, and Tsubaki considers the possibility that he is being targeted by Tenya. At that moment, an officer informs Tsubaki that the police HQ is asking for him. Tenya listens to the news while on top of a blimp, but the reporter states that the blimps must have been the work of foreign artists, so he becomes disappointed. While he was in the detention facility, we learn that the grocer charged him 3 billion yen for the information, explaining that Tenya could earn 6 billion yen over his lifetime if he really wanted to earn money, and the information will shape his destiny, but it could end up destroying him if mishandled, so he thinks 3 billion is a reasonable price. However, Tenya decides to find the answer himself, paying the grocer for his help to fly several blimps. He reads a manga on top of a blimp, but he suddenly gets shot by a sniper, who is surprised that she actually hit him. However, her spotter says she missed, as it's revealed that the body was just a dummy. Tenya goes on air, reporting the incident to everyone, and he accuses the police of making an attempt on his life. He tells everyone that someone wanted to kill him because of the symbol, so he thinks there is a conspiracy or secret society involved. Tenya offers to give a 300 million yen reward to any person who will tell him about the symbol, saying he will give his contact details soon, as he ends the broadcast. Polka notes that the situation is now a mess, as they wonder what they should do next, but Sayo asks them what is happening, because she heard something about empires and reincarnation. So Polka explains his story to her, saying he will return the body to the original Polka soon. Kuruya thinks Sayo wouldn't believe that story, but she says she believes him, because she noticed he is nothing like the Polka she knows. She goes to the bathroom with the real Polka, and they talk about whether they could trust her with the information. Polka reveals he can alter someone's memories, by making a spirit remove a part of their soul, but this could affect the target's brain. He says it wasn't hard to do in his old world, but he doesn't know if the humans in this world are different, so he is afraid he could end up destroying Seo's mind. As they talk, they suddenly notice that Misaki is no longer with them. Misaki joins Seo as she takes a shower, telling her she killed the real Polka, but Seo knows Polka has already forgiven her, since she knows he has a gentle nature. And they end up becoming friends, as Misaki tells them that Seo can't be the one who ordered the hit on Polka. Kurai realizes that Seo took the real Polka with her to the bathroom, and he tells her the truth about the shark toy, making her upset. Kurai thinks it's because she showered in front of him, but Seo says it's because he got to become a shark, wanting to exchange bodies with him. They discuss their next move, as Polka thinks about meeting with the Phantom Solitaire, because Polka sees the symbol as a precious memory, so he doesn't want anyone to defile it. They wonder if the Phantom Solitaire is from Polka's world, but Polka doubts it, saying he spent years creating the reincarnation magic he used, so he doesn't think anyone from his world could do the same. Kurai does his research about the symbol, while Hozaragi tells Polka about his suspicions, thinking the police are involved. At the police HQ, Tsubaki makes his way to the office of the Superintendent General named Jiro. Tsubaki enters his office, and Jiro asks him if he can function as a cog in their machine. Tsubaki says he's good at fitting in, but he mentions a pebble in the works. Jiro thinks he is talking about Hozaragi, asking him if Hozaragi was just a pebble to him, but Tsubaki reveals he was talking about the rat who drove Hozaragi away. Jiro informs him the Phantom Solitaire investigation has been reorganized, but he asks Tsubaki to play a key role. Meanwhile, Tenya receives information that someone from Shinjuku hacked the police, and he learns that it was done from a certain office of a fortune teller, so he thinks about paying the fortune teller a visit. Kurai informs Polka that he can't find information about the symbol, but he knows it was part of a serious case that involved Hozaragi. Hozaragi confirms this, stating how he was killed by assassins in the building, and Kurai speculates the culprit must have been a cop. Polka is worried about the Shinoyamas, thinking their involvement in the case could put the family in danger. Meanwhile, Tsubaki discusses the Phantom Solitaire case with the Metropolitan Police, telling them about his tendency to move closer if anything catches his eye, so he suggests following the symbol to cross paths with him. As he continues to discuss the case, Kozaburo overhears some of the officers making comments, questioning Tsubaki's eligibility to lecture them. Polka begins a fortune-telling session, telling his customer how he is about to get into trouble, suggesting he should change his ways. We learn that the customer is actually Tenya, noting how Polka's readings were accurate for the person he is disguised as, so he thinks he is just being fed information. He concludes that Polka is nothing special, letting out a sigh, so Polka asks if he has any questions. Tenya asks him about the symbol, and Polka tells him that there's something wrong with it, as the pen starts writing on a piece of paper, drawing the correct symbol. Tenya falls silent, and we learn Polka knew his true identity, but he couldn't tolerate the incorrect symbol, so he felt compelled to correct him. Tenya is about to leave, but Polka asks him about a pigtailed girl using a wheelchair, which shocks Tenya. The girl is revealed to be the spirit behind him, and although Polka can't understand what she's saying, he knows that the girl is distressed by the path he's walking. Polka is about to help her pass on, but Tenya says she must be his guardian spirit as he leaves the room, and he realizes there's something special about Polka. As he is about to leave the building, Tenya is surprised to see a girl wearing the fire-breathing bug's raincoat, and we learn that the girl also asked Polka about the symbol. At the police HQ, Tsubaki tells Kozaburo about the error in the symbol, but he doesn't want to share it with the others, thinking the enemy could be anywhere. Two officers approach them, mocking Tsubaki's career, but Tsubaki reminds them he now has the authority to order them around. One of the officers grabs onto him, revealing how the officers still hate him because of his time with Hozaragi, but Tsubaki states that only crooked cops are mad at him. The officer pushes him back, telling him to know his place, but Tsubaki mocks their behavior. At that moment, two officers from Tsubaki's division, Yatsu and Tozawa arrive, and they casually break the officer's arm. But Tozawa claims the officer broke his own arm, pulling it back, as he calls it a problem solved. The senior commissioner Habaki asks them what's going on, and Tozawa explains they just performed first aid on an injured colleague. Tsubaki explains the situation to him in private, but he asks Tsubaki not to make waves, since he can't always cover him. That evening, Tenya is about to enter the torture building through the rooftop, when he suddenly gets attacked. He blocks it using his cards, and he calls out to Polka, thinking he was behind the attack, but Xiaoyu appears, which confuses Tenya. We see Polka sleeping in his room, when the real Polka notices writing on the wall, which appears to be from the fire-breathing bug. In a flashback, we see the Empire in danger, so the corpse god thinks about helping them out. His master tells him to get ready for life without the Empire, saying they have unlimited time, but she tells him to treasure the time of mortals, as she opens the door. However, the corpse god failed to follow her advice, since he wasn't able to save the people who were dear to him, and he even ended up as the enemy of the world. Back in the present, the real Polka wakes him up, allowing him to see the writing on the wall, which states that the world is a buggy program, and it asks him if he is a termite or a bird eating the bug. Polka receives a call from an unknown number, which seems to be from the fire-breathing bug. The man asks him if he is the bastard child of Sabramond, and Polka wonders how he even knows that name. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu attacks Tenya with his knives, forcing Tenya to jump away. Xiaoyu transforms his fingers into long knives, and Tenya panics as he dodges. We see a man observing the fight, and he informs Takaru about the situation, so he decides to make a move, saying they can benefit from the conflict. Polka tries to find out more about what he knows about Sabramond, wondering if he is also from the other world, but we see the girl in the fire-breathing bug's raincoat, who seems to be talking to the man, and Polka finds them hard to understand. He thinks the caller could be nearby, so he uses his eyes to look around for them, and he notices Tenya and Xiaoyu fighting on the roof. We see Tenya is panicking on the inside, and he has no idea what's going on, but he tries to play it cool. Xiaoyu wonders about his relationship with Polka and decides to test him, mentioning Hozaragi. Tenya pretends like he knows Hozaragi, and Xiaoyu wonders if he is involved with Hozaragi's death. Tenya tries to explain himself, but Xiaoyu sees him as an enemy, so he charges at him. However, Lemmings suddenly lands between them, and they both know he is dangerous. We see Takaru as his associates wonder if Lemmings will attack Xiaoyu, but Takaru assures them he has ordered him not to harm Xiaoyu, and he is confident Lemmings will follow his orders. Lemmings turns to Tenya, and Xiaoyu sees it as an opening, attacking with his knives, but Lemmings is unfazed, continuing toward Tenya. Xiaoyu thinks he is being ignored, so he attacks again using his fingers. He is not able to cut through Lemmings, so he shocks him with electricity instead. But Lemmings gets free, and he continues toward Tenya, who starts to panic and asks to resolve things peacefully. Meanwhile, we see the girl as she gets approached by Yatsu and Tozawa. They find her suspicious being out on the streets in the middle of the night. She quickly ends her call, and Polka wonders what's going on. Thinking about how he doesn't want his memory to be defiled, he prepares to take action. He can sense someone flustered below him, and since the call ended at the same time, he deduces the caller is nearby. Not wanting to give up this clue, he activates his power. Everyone gets a strange feeling as he covers the building and creates a field known as his temple. We see the girl explaining to the two officers that she was just out looking for her dog that ran away, and she is soon joined by her father. Polka watches them with his eyes, and he knows they are lying, because he can't sense any dogs in the area, and he recognizes the souls of Tenya and the girl as the two people who asked him about the symbol. So he decides to expand his field to keep track of them. Everyone around feels a sudden unsettling feeling, but they can't tell what's going on. Polka heads to the roof to help Xiaoyu, but the real Polka worries he will be seen, so he prepares to use his invisible hands. Lemmings is attacked by the invisible hands, but he shrugs it off and continues toward Tenya. Tenya is also affected, and he wonders what is going on. Polka notes that his control has improved within his field, so he decides to take things to the next level. Tenya decides to retreat, throwing a smoke bomb and using a balloon to escape, but he suddenly becomes shocked, and Takaru also receives a shocking report. By sympathizing with the spirits, Polka is able to share senses with their hands, and he is able to give them a tangible form. We see a swarm of hands as they try to capture Lemmings, but Polka realizes he still doesn't have the power to restrain him, so he decides to go after Tenya instead. Tenya is overjoyed seeing them, wondering about the secret behind them, but he manages to get away with another balloon. Polka is disappointed he got away, but he reveals he managed to catch the girl. We see footage of Polka's hands being spread across the internet, and it's connected to the skeleton event. There are people that recognize his power, looking to control it for themselves, and we learn the ones behind Hosaragi's death have started to make a move. And it seems like this is only the start of something much bigger.